This is Tar Heel Talk, an in-depth look at the issues and people making news in North Carolina. Here's your host, Sonia Williams.
The North Carolina Community Foundation, or NCCF, is the only community foundation serving the entire state of North Carolina. There are community foundations throughout the country, and a common goal is to enhance the quality of life in local areas. Well, joining me now to tell us more about the North Carolina Community Foundation is its president and CEO, Jennifer Tolley-Whiteside. Jennifer, welcome to Tar Heel Talk.
Thank you so much.
Let's start with an understanding or an overview of what exactly a community foundation is.
Well, a community foundation is really a collection of funds or endowed funds that we help administer. So we make grants in the community. We work with individuals, families, businesses, organizations to help with their charitable giving. So a community foundation is simply a collection of endowed funds that are organized around making a community a better place to live.
Okay. Now, you working with charitable funds, why is the community foundation necessary? Why is that needed?
Well, the community foundation is really a place that we work with folks to make it easier to do charitable giving. And there's so much complication actually in nonprofit organizations and in charitable giving, and there's a lot of tax laws and that govern it. A community foundation really can make it easy. We can work with people in working on their planned giving as well as their current giving.
The North Carolina Community Foundation was started back in 1988.
Yes.
Give us some history on the organization and a little backstory on NCCF.
Okay. Well, our organization was started by Lewis Holding, who at that time was president and CEO of First Citizens Bank. He really had a vision around what a community foundation could do for rural North Carolina. So our beginnings were very much focused on making sure that everyone in North Carolina had access to charitable vehicles or philanthropic vehicles. And his idea was it shouldn't matter where you live in North Carolina, that you should be able to work with a community foundation. And so our focus is really on those rural areas.
When you talk about focusing on the rural areas, I know that one of the factors that differentiates the North Carolina Community Foundation from others is that the fact that you have a statewide presence. So you're in all parts of North Carolina. Talk about that, how that works, and your affiliate program.
Great. We have, as a statewide community foundation, we serve directly 68 counties, and those counties are served what we call an affiliate network, which is divided in 8 regions across the state. And in those 60 areas, we have local boards of directors who oversee the charitable giving in those communities. So they each have a pot of money that they're making grants in the local community based on community needs, area resources, issues that are up in the community, and also really are serving as community leaders, ambassadors for some of the needs that are going on in the community, talking about charitable giving. What we're really trying to do is inspire people to be involved in their community, care about their community, and be involved through charitable giving. And so that affiliate structure really ensures that those dollars stay local. Each one of those 60 affiliates, as I said, has a pot of money that they're making grants through, but they're also working with local donors and looking at what those needs are in the community.
Now, who would seek the services of the Community Foundation?
Well, an individual, a family, an organization who wanted to establish a permanent endowment for their charitable giving. We work with a lot of families who want to pass on sort of what charitable giving that is important to them onto their own children and onto their family members. We also work with a number of folks who are planning their wills or their estates and thinking about their legacy and what they might want to leave for future generations. We also are available, we work a lot with nonprofit organizations across the state in 2 different ways. So we work with nonprofits to help them establish their own endowments and manage those endowments for them. And we also make grants, of course, to charitable nonprofits across the state.
Okay. How can people find out more information about the North Carolina Community Foundation?
Well, they simply could go to our website, which is nccommunityfoundation.org, or give us a call at 919-828-4387.
Okay, we're going to take a break, but I want to talk more after the break about the programs and the services that are provided and the impact that NCCF is making in local communities throughout North Carolina.
Great.
Right. We'll be back with more on the North Carolina Community Foundation after these messages. Today's show focuses on the North Carolina Community Foundation, and with us again is its president and CEO, Jennifer Tolley Whiteside. Now, Jennifer, before the break, we were talking about some of the services that the North Carolina Community Foundation provides, and one of those is making grants. So talk a little bit about the grant making process. I know that you do partner with organizations to make that happen.
Well, last year in North Carolina, we made grants of over $15 million. And since our inception in 1988, our grant making has totaled over $116 million. So it's quite an impact across North Carolina. So we work with individuals who have donor advised or other types of charitable funds to make their grants. We work with nonprofit organizations and helping them receive grants for their important work across the state.
And you all have done an amazing video that really highlights a lot of the work and the impact that's being made in local communities. Let's take a look at an excerpt from that.
I think the grant making is really the heart and soul of the Community Foundation. That's where the rubber meets the road.
Larger funds, larger grants, larger scholarships. That's how our community has benefited.
More Free Care Clinic was founded in 2004, for those that don't know, and we were founded to support the uninsured and those with illnesses that needed medical support.
Your support has allowed the Boys and Girls Club of the Sandhills to take care of 350 children.
Without their help, we would not be able to offer all of our services free of charge.
This grant that we're so glad to get will help us keep the doors open, because for many, we are lifelong.
Women have always had a role in philanthropy, and the growing number of women's giving groups across the country and here in North Carolina is something that we were both encouraged and wanted to encourage.
They say you can contribute your time, your talent, and your treasure.
We have always given, and we must still give. And why not take on the term philanthropist? Because that's what you are.
My name is Tina Henry Berryman. I am associate with Delta Sigma Theta. We are part of the Raleigh chapter here in Raleigh, North Carolina. In Wake County, we wanted to ensure that young people had an opportunity to move from high school to college. This past year, we gave out 21 scholarships to our students.
From the first day that I went to Central and really got to see what the campus was like, I wanted to go there, and I wanted to go to the law school, and I just wanted to be there at Central.
And we stepped in and did what our sorority is known for.
When I got the scholarship, I was super, super, super happy.
They've made it very paperless for us to move that money from their organization to our students' scholarship aspirations.
I just want to give a big thanks to the North Carolina Community Foundation, as well as the Raleigh Alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, for everything that they've done. I really appreciate it.
I would absolutely recommend working with the North Carolina Community Foundation.
My name's Jim Gray. I worked with the North Carolina Community Foundation to help establish the Dottie Gray Ambulance Fund. Dottie and I retired to North Carolina for the nature, the wilderness. Dottie had a heart attack. There was no defibrillator available. The nearest medical facility was 40 miles away. After the funeral, we realized that it was important that we have an ambulance here in the southern part of Pamlico County. By cutting down the response time, we knew that we could save lives in the community in an emergency. It just works out better to work in the framework of the North Carolina Community Foundation. We have an ambulance. we would.
So, just evidence of some amazing programs and services that happen in local communities thanks to the help of the North Carolina Community Foundation.
Absolutely. I mean, those stories that you hear are scholarship recipients who it's made that possible for them to go to college, in fact, many of our recipients are first generation in their family for college.
Wow.
With that and the endowment permanent funds that help really sustain a community and make a difference.
Talk a little more about the scholarship program, because most community foundations do not provide scholarships.
Many do not. And the scholarship program that we provide is a really important piece. We think that it can make a difference for someone to be able to go to college or not, whether it's community college, a state college, university. We administer about 150 scholarships programs across the state, and those programs, pay for everything from books to tuition, and for multiple years. And these are kids who are determined and want to go to college and need a hand up, so it can really make a difference.
Now, as we saw in the video, one local sorority developed or established this scholarship.
Right.
So do they manage the applicants and recipients, and the North Carolina Community Foundation manage the funds? Is that how the partnership works?
We can do it both ways. We also completely administer scholarships, but we often work with the scholarship committee, which is made up of either family members and other folks in the community who help make selections about the students. We often have many more students applying for the scholarships than we have available, but they are the most, I think, rewarding piece of some of our work.
And how can people find out about the scholarships that are available? Because I'm sure, when it's time to submit those college applications, there are people looking for resources to help fund college education.
They are, and our website makes it so easy, Sonia. You just simply go on our website and click on grants and scholarships, and then you can search by the county that you live in what scholarships are available. And as I said, those scholarships are available across the state.
Okay, and their website is ncommunityfoundation.org.
That's correct.
Get that information. When you talk about planned giving, that is another important component and something that your organization will help people to establish.
Absolutely. As people get older or start thinking about sort of their future plans or their wills, sometimes people start thinking about their charitable giving, and how you want to leave your legacy and how you want to be remembered is a really important conversation that we often have with our families and individuals. A community foundation can help you set up a charitable fund after your death. You can start giving before, or it can be after, and ensure that the things that you care about, whether it's community, nonprofit organizations, that those carry on forever in perpetuity.
Right. And you brought up an interesting point, because I think a lot of times people, when they think about a charity or a nonprofit organization, they think about giving immediately and for the moment, and not over a lifetime and beyond.
Right.
So can you explain the difference between just making a donation directly to a charity and then working through the North Carolina Community Foundation?
Absolutely, and both are very important. Our nonprofit organizations need us to provide that support.
Sure.
But an endowment fund builds those charitable resources over time, and it really is around in perpetuity or forever. And so what happens is when you establish an endowment with a pot of money or source of money, the organization is only using the income from that. And so over the years, that endowment doubles, increases in value, and really reaps rewards for the nonprofit organization.
And the women's giving group is another important component to the North Carolina Community Foundation.
Absolutely. We have 9 women's giving groups across the state, and those are really a collection of women who come together and pool their resources or their charitable giving and make a joint decision about where they want those dollars to go. And it's a great way to see a larger impact. If I'm charitable giving, if I'm making donations, but I pool it with other friends or colleagues, and I can make a much larger impact. Most of our women's giving groups are focused on programs that serve women and children in communities. And we also have a statewide women's fund that works on those same sorts of issues. But it's really, women have been philanthropists since the beginning of time, and it's just a way to really leverage already their strong voice for community change.
Right. Again, people can find out more information about the North Carolina Community Foundation by simply going to your website, and like you said, it's a wealth of information there. Great resource, nccommunityfoundation.org, and if they have questions, they can call 919-828-4387. Jennifer, we're going to take another break, and we'll talk more in just a minute.
Great.
We'll be back with more Tar Heel Talk after these messages. Welcome back to Tar Heel Talk. I'm Sonia Williams. The North Carolina Community Foundation, or NCCF, is the only community foundation serving the entire state of North Carolina. And its ultimate goal is to enhance the quality of life in local communities across the state. We're talking today with its president and CEO, Jennifer Tolley Whiteside. Now, Jennifer, before the break, we were talking a little bit more about some of the impact that local communities are feeling as a result of the charitable giving done through the North Carolina Community Foundation. I also understand that you have a disaster relief fund. That is something that, when a crisis hits, people need help immediately. So talk a little bit about the disaster relief fund.
Absolutely, and luckily we have not had to activate the disaster relief fund for a little bit of time. So far we're crossing our fingers about that, but the disaster relief fund is really established to respond to any kind of disasters that occur in North Carolina. So a hurricane, flooding, something that happens to a community, and that fund is then activated. And we can provide a way for people to make donations directly from across the country to address those issues. And because of our structure with our boards across the state, we have feet, hands, eyes, ears on the ground who can help make decisions about where those dollars will be used best and where the needs are. So once a disaster hits, we activate that fund. Donations can come in from across the country, and then we work with our local leaders to ensure that those dollars are put towards programs and services that benefit the most folks and are needed. So.
Right. And I know that you'd mentioned before that it's important for donations to stay in local communities here in North Carolina. So that's where your affiliate network really comes into play, is being close to that area and in those local communities and knowing what's needed.
Absolutely, and we're really based on the understanding and belief that we care about our community. We care about the community we live, that we work in, and so we want to ensure that those charitable dollars stay in those communities, and it's not, put towards other use. Right. So if you grew up in a community in rural North Carolina, or you made your living in a community, it's a way to give back, even if your children or you don't live there any longer. But those community or those endowments can really support that local,
like you said, leaving a legacy for your children and children's children in the community.
Absolutely. North Carolina has lots of pressing issues, and there's lots of challenges in our communities across the state, and charitable giving or becoming involved in this way can help provide an outlet, can ensure that you're making a difference. So we have donors that care on everything from caring about animals to education to religion to environment, any kinds of arts, and we can work with folks to make sure that their donations are directed in organizations that they care about, that are doing good work.
And I know that you are gearing up for your annual fundraising the chairman's campaign. Talk a little bit about that and what your goal is for this year.
Absolutely. This is a way that our local affiliates raise money for their community grant making. Each, as I said, has a local pot of resources that they make grants from every year. This challenge, we have a matching gift, so it matches all the gifts that come in during the month of November, and we will cross over $1 million raised this year for that. And all those dollars will in turn be made out in grants to nonprofit organizations. So it's really a win-win.
Absolutely. Definitely making an impact in communities across North Carolina. And when you think about the impact, we saw in the video how one rural area was able to get an ambulance, and one teen was able to go to college for a scholarship.
Right.
Talk a little bit more about some other impact stories, because I think it's important for people to understand just where the money is going and how it's being used.
Well, I think what's so different about a community foundation is that it really is up to the person who established that endowment fund. So it's really about what you care about, the issues that are important to you, and that can make that difference. I mean, I think when we look at the stories, and there's stories all across the state of people who are generous. The woman in Eastern North Carolina who worked in the school cafeteria all her life and saved her money and established an endowment fund to ensure that children from that high school could be able to go to college.
It's powerful.
It is, and when you think about, and I think that's the other piece of it, is that you don't have to be, we sometimes think of foundations as just being wealthy people. Many of our folks are everyday people who care about their community, who want to ensure that their legacy is carried on, that they are giving to nonprofit organizations that they care about, and we help them make it easy.
Absolutely.
And grow their resources. So the end impact is much higher than it would be.
So why should people work with the community foundation as opposed to, like I've mentioned before, just donating to their favorite charity?
Well, when you certainly when you give to an organization, that's a great thing. But making a gift or establishing an endowment would ensure that those dollars are going to grow. And grow over time and be around forever, and a source of income for that nonprofit to count on year after year. Simply if you make a gift today, then that money can be used today, but it won't grow. And so we ensure that grows. We also have expertise in terms of organizations that are doing good work across the state, and investment, finance, all of those pieces that help build those dollars.
How do you decide which nonprofit organizations you're going to partner with? And to explain a little bit about how that part of the partnership works.
Well, there's really two different ways. We have a competitive grants program that is out through our affiliates, and you simply go on our website, and that provides information about that, or our women's giving groups. But most of the folks that come and work with us are individuals who already have an idea of either issues that they care about or organizations that they care about, and we help direct those dollars. Sometimes we have donors who simply read something in the newspaper or hear about something that's happening in their community and want additional information, and we help people connect with nonprofit organizations as well.
Absolutely, an excellent resource for people who are looking to give back in their local communities and to make a difference, and a lot of times a lifelong difference.
Absolutely.
So how can people find out more information again about the North Carolina Community Foundation?
Well, if they visit our website, which is nccommunityfoundation.org, or give us a call at 919-828-4387.
All right. Jennifer Tolley-Whiteside, President and CEO of the North Carolina Community Foundation, thank you so much for the work that you're doing, and thank you for being our guest today.
Thank you so much.
All right. That's it for this week's Tar Heel Talk. To comment on this or other episodes of the show, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, or send us an email to tarheeltalk@fox50.com. Have a great week.